Welcome to the Endo Belly Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Chavez. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner and restorative wellness practitioner on a mission to change the way that we support women with endometriosis. Endo is a full-body disease that impacts your mind, body, and spirit in countless ways that aren't often addressed the way that women truly deserve. We are here to talk about all of it. Please keep in mind that the content of this show has been created for educational purposes only and should never be used as a replacement for medical diagnosis or treatment. Hello, and welcome back to the Endo Belly Girl Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different structure. At this point in time, if you are listening to this in real time, we are heading into the holiday season. Actually, we're kind of in the middle of the holiday season at the time this episode will be coming out. And it's this time of year that we are just tempted by so many things that just aren't the best for your health. And it's a concern that I hear a lot from endo warriors. It's something that we were talking about recently inside of the Endo Wellness Initiative, my membership program. And just the struggles of there are so many temptations, so many things that we want to partake in that we know won't make us feel very good. And so I wanted to create an episode all about navigating that and just how to really fly through the holiday season feeling good. And so I put together some of my favorite swaps so that you can get out of the holidays feeling your best, but not feeling like you're just missing out on all the fun, because nobody wants to feel that way. And I'm all about living your best life, as Oprah says. Always loved Oprah. And that means being able to really enjoy your life and enjoy what you're doing and not feel like you're just missing out and all the time just in the name of being healthy. So today we're going to go through some of my top swaps to allow you to enjoy the holiday season while still feeling your best. We're going to look at food and drinks, household products, as well as just your lifestyle, what you're doing during that time. We're going to unpack all of it. Now, bonus, this episode is geared specifically towards the holidays because that's the season that we're in if you're listening in real time, but these really can apply anytime. So these are swaps that you can continue really all throughout the year, not just during the holiday season. So let's dig in. Number 1, cocktails for mocktails. It's a new thing I've been experimenting with a little bit lately. The truth is, alcohol is inflammatory, period. Now, the real truth is just one drink is inflammatory in your body. Now, that doesn't mean, no, you can never have alcohol ever for the rest of your life, because how much alcohol you can tolerate, if any, depends entirely on you. I know there are some people who just say, you know what, I just do better completely with no alcohol. I'm okay with not doing that ever. And cool. I used to be kind of in that place where I just wasn't tolerating any alcohol very well. I would just get very inflamed very quickly. Now I personally am in a much better place where I'm okay having a drink on occasion. Now I'm not a big drinker anyway. It's not a big deal to me. I don't feel a need to have a lot of alcohol, but on occasion, like at the time that I'm recording this, we just passed Thanksgiving, and I did sit down and have a glass of wine on Thanksgiving, and that's it. That's all I wanted. Good. Moving on. So, that's a little bit individual. I do find that most endo warriors do better limiting alcohol. I mean, let's be real. Really, everybody does. It's inflammatory for everybody, not just endo warriors. We all know it's tough on the liver, too. So, mocktails are a great way to join in the fun while still staying healthier. Now, there's many ways to create mocktails. There's many recipes out there just for fun. As I was planning out this episode, I did a quick Google search for mocktails to see what comes up. There's a lot. There's tons and tons out there. Just Google mocktails and you're going to find tons of recipes. I'm sure if you put in, holiday mocktails, you can come up with some holiday specific ones. Typically, it involves, some kind of juice, maybe some sparkling water or club soda or something, and sometimes some kind of additive. I would just say be aware because some of them are super sugary, I found. So just be aware of that, because we don't want to get, just replace the alcohol with a ton of sugar. That's not going to be super conducive to your health either. But there's definitely ways to make it even just as simple as that. Just have some, for example, maybe some pomegranate juice with a little sparkling water, and maybe a little bit of lemon or lime or something could be good in there. I'm totally just making that up off the top of my head. But I know there's many people out there who have some really great recipes. Look around, see what you can find. And if you find any good ones, hey, let me know. Shoot them my way. I always love sharing that stuff. Okay, number 2, swapping sugary desserts for homemade treats. Now, I have a lot to say about sugar. In fact, I'm planning a full episode all about sugar coming up in January, because there's just a lot to say on that topic. But the nitty-gritty is that sugar, like alcohol, is very inflammatory in your body. It can contribute to that systemic inflammation that comes along with endometriosis. So something we don't want a ton of. Now, it can be hard to just avoid 100% of sugar all the time. I did do that for a while when I was really in the thick of my healing process. So it's possible, but it's a challenge. So do your best. I'm a big fan of like the 80-20, 90-10 rule in general, although if you're in a super inflamed state, sometimes it can be better to scale back a little bit. But also sugar can feed those not so great gut bugs in your body, in your gut, the ones that we don't want. It also weakens your immune system, which is super important for endometriosis. They say that having just a cup of sugar weakens your immune system for about 5 hours. I heard that statistic recently. And that's definitely not something that we want, especially during the season when all the colds and flus are going around. I even hear people question, well, is it really cold and flu season, or is it just sugar season that makes us more susceptible to the colds and flus? Great question. Now, how to do this, because I get it. Not everybody loves to bake. I personally enjoy baking, and I'm not amazing at it. Actually, I laugh because my husband and I love watching baking shows, like the Great British Baking Show, and we really like, things like the Holiday Baking Championship that's on right now. We like watching that stuff, and he'll watch that and go, oh, you could be on these shows. And I just laugh at him like, no, I'm not anywhere near this level. Even the home bakers that are on those shows, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not anywhere near that level. That's very sweet of you to say. But I enjoy baking. I enjoy getting in the kitchen. And I have found over the years, because I am gluten-free at this point in time, I wasn't my whole life. That didn't come about till I was about 30-ish years old. And so, yeah, it can be a little bit of a challenge making that transition. But the cool thing is there's a lot of really good recipes out there. Now, if you're not a big baker, you don't want to be in the kitchen. First of all, I'll challenge you to just try it. I'm a big believer in my favorite phrase to say is everything is learnable. Right? I had no idea how to bake once upon a time. Certainly didn't know how to do gluten-free baking once upon a time. And you just kind of experiment and learn. Sure, some of it will turn out terrible. That's okay. Just try it. Right? And if you really don't want to get in the kitchen and do your thing in there, look for somebody near you who makes good stuff. Sometimes you can find just people who make stuff out of their house and you can place orders with, or like I have a local eatery/bakery that actually makes a whole lot of paleo desserts. They make gluten-free and dairy-free and refined sugar-free options that are really good. So, and that stuff is becoming more and more common. So if you're in a relatively populated area, you might be able to find that. If you're in like middle of nowhere, Texas Panhandle, you might have a harder time. I don't know why I'm calling out that specific area other than just I remember driving through there and there not being much to see. If you're from the Texas Panhandle and really love it there, I'm sure it's amazing. And if there are like some really good paleo dessert options there, I would love to hear about it. Who knows when I'll drive through there again. Anyway, just, there are options. There are more and more people making this stuff and, making little businesses out of it. So check that out. You never know who's in your area. If you are looking for recipes, some of my personal faves are that my go-tos are Paleo Running Mama. She has some really good recipes. Unbound Wellness, and Wholesome Licious. Those three are kind of my go-tos. But if you're looking for recipes, if you're looking for something in particular, feel free to reach out. Hit me up on Instagram at Endo Belly Girl, and I'm happy to send you some recommendations or just even places to start if you need some recipes. I have a previous episode 21, was all about blood sugar, specifically in relation to hormones and how sugar basically can impact your hormones. So if you're interested in diving in and learning more about that, check out that episode number 21. I will link to that in the show notes. Okay, on to number 3, healthier hot cocoa. Now you will notice that a lot of these suggestions I'm going to make for swaps do involve sugar. That's just because it is sugar season. There is sugar everywhere. And you know what? A lot of the sugary things that we eat also come with memories, come with emotions behind them. And that's important to honor too. I know I have a lot of wonderful childhood memories circling around having a cup of hot cocoa, and I really enjoy that. However, when I have typical hot cocoa, which is filled with sugar and typically made with milk, those are two things that I know haven't done well in my body. They're not great for endo warriors in general. So what I've been experimenting with the last few years is just figuring out good ways to make my own. And I've experimented with different ways of doing it, and I found really what works best is just keep it simple. Start with some plain, just cocoa powder, good old, raw cacao. I'm saying that wrong, not like Hershey's cocoa powder. Get some good quality, cacao powder, and you start with that. Heat up some kind of milk alternative on the stove. I use either cashew or coconut or some combination of those are my favorites that I find to be a little creamier. And let that melt in there. Sometimes you can even just use a chocolate bar like dark chocolate and just melt it in there. That can be kind of fun too. And then you will want to add some kind of sweetener because let's be real, just plain cacao, it's bitter. And if that's your jam, if you just want a cup of bitter chocolate, be my guest. As much as I don't want a big old cup of sugar, I do want it to be at least a little sweet. So I will add either coconut sugar or honey or maple syrup, something that's going to have less impact on the blood sugar than just pure granulated sugar. So those are some good options. You can kind of just experiment with that and figure out the combination of flavors that works best for you. I personally even like to add a little protein powder, either some collagen powder or Equip protein powder is a good option as well, just to give it a little extra something. A little extra protein never hurts. And you don't really taste it, assuming it's good quality stuff. So keep it simple, because remember, cacao itself is really rich in magnesium and antioxidants. It's great for you. It's all the dairy and sugar that we add in that makes it not so good for you. So there are ways to enjoy that hot cocoa without making yourself feel terrible. So give it a whirl. Permission to have chocolate this holiday season? Heck yeah. Take that and run with it, my friend. Okay, number 4, holiday scented candles, swapping out for some non-toxic alternatives. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you haven't heard this before, synthetic fragrance, like what comes in those yummy candles we love from stores like Bath & Body Works, is one of the roughest things to do to your poor body. Those synthetic fragrances come with a chemical called phthalates. It's what makes the scents stick, basically. So when you have something fragranced and that scent just kind of lingers in the air and stays behind, that would be the phthalates. Not great for you. They're known as being one of the worst hormone disruptors in the world. You don't want that around your body. But the flip side of that is those candles smell yummy. Let's be real. And I know my husband really loves the holiday scented candles. And so when I started ditching all of the toxic chemicals in the house a while back, he was really bummed about the candle situation. And so we started looking for some alternatives, and I found some good ones. Some of these are brands that I've actually tried, and some of these are companies that I've recently heard about and from some fellow practitioners, fellow colleagues here who are always looking for healthier alternatives. And so some of the brands that I have found that I've liked include Fontana Candle Company, Primally Pure makes some candles, Life Root Botanicals and Root Candle Company are two that have been recently recommended to me that I'm planning on trying, so I thought that I would share that. You can also find just beeswax candles. You want to look, when you're looking for candles, I'm sure there are more brands out there that are making good stuff. There's more and more companies that are kind of finding the non-toxic route. You want to look for essential oils being used for the fragrance, 100% if possible. If it just includes essential oils, by the way, that's not the same thing. I see a lot of synthetic fragrance candles that just have some essential oils in it. That's not the same thing because then they still have the phthalates. You want it to be pure, 100% essential oil scented. You want to look as far as the wax, beeswax or soy wax are good options. You don't want the paraffin wax. Again, not great when it comes to the toxins. And some kind of natural fiber wicks. There's different ways to do that. I'm no pro or expert at what materials are best for wicks, but something natural is good since you're burning it and it's going to be going into the air that you're breathing. Keep that in mind. Okay, moving on. Swap number 5. I've got 10 of these, by the way. I don't know if I ever actually mentioned that. I meant to. I'll put that in the title, so you'll know that hopefully before you're listening. But this is number 5 of 10 swaps. So this one is swapping sitting around for doing some walking or hiking adventures. So I know just looking back on my past holiday seasons, I feel like I tend to do a lot of kind of sitting around. You're having a big meal with the family and you're sitting down and playing games, you're sitting down and watching movies, sitting down, snuggling up by the fire. And don't get me wrong, I love all of those things. But you have to remember also that sitting equals a lack of circulation to your pelvis. And a lack of circulation to your pelvis equals more pelvic pain. I know it seems like such a simple thing, but really keeping movement, keeping blood flow through your pelvis is actually really important for reducing pelvic pain and period pain in general. So yeah, get yourself moving, get your butt up. Now I know, I 100% get it. If you're in a lot of pain, the movement might be very minimal. I get it. We all have those days where you're just not up to it. But when you're having better days, when you're feeling a little more up to it, you kind of gauge what you're able to do from moment to moment. Get your butt off that couch, get yourself outside, get yourself moving, get some sunshine on your face, all things that are good for your health always. And hey, I know many of you are going to be spending the holidays with family, with friends. Get everybody together, take them out for a walk. Hey guys, let's get outside. If you've got dogs, throw them on a leash. Get everybody to come with you. Hey fam, we're taking a family walk. Once upon a time, I feel like my family used to do that. We'd have big holiday meals and then we would all go out for a walk afterwards. We haven't been doing that lately, but I want to bring that back. I did do that after Thanksgiving dinner this year, which was nice. But get yourself outside. Now I know I happen to live in Southern California. I am very spoiled here. It's quite warm. It is December as I'm recording this, and it was like 75 degrees today. So it is admittedly easier for me to get outside. I did not always live here. I did not grow up here. I grew up in mostly Colorado, a little bit Indiana before that. And so I know winter. I know the snow. I know what it feels like when it's wintry out there. But I also know how important it is to get outside anyway, even though it's just something short, even though it's something quick. Get your booty outside. At the very least, get your body moving, though. If it's a treadmill kind of day, it's a treadmill kind of day. But movement is key. Okay. Swap number 6. This is a big one. Doing more for doing less. Yep. Do less, my friend. I feel like many of us women in particular insist on doing it all. If you want it done right, you have to do it yourself, right? Now, what if you change the narrative on that? Just go with me on this. I know it's tough. Trust me, I'm definitely a do more kind of girl. But what if good enough is enough? What if imperfection is where it's at this season? What if the world really won't fall apart if you don't do that thing? Now, all this is coming from a recovering perfectionist. So I want to take a quick moment here to share a little story with you guys. So a few years back, I guess that was more than a few years now, maybe 5 or 6 years back, was the first time that my husband and I hosted a big Thanksgiving at our house. And when I say a big Thanksgiving, my husband has a big family. He has 5 siblings, and his siblings, all but one of them have kids and multiple kids. Like his sister has 5 kids, his brother has 2, his other brother has 3. Like there's just a lot of people. And so it's not uncommon when we have Thanksgiving that there's like 30 people there. This year was a relatively small Thanksgiving because we had a couple of families missing. And even with the smaller Thanksgiving, we still hosted like 20 people. It's a lot. And previous me would go running around all week like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to get all the things done, making sure the house was perfectly clean and everything was set up and organized, and I had all the foods that everybody would like, and just wearing myself so thin to the point where I would get up the morning after Thanksgiving and just be exhausted and have nothing left in the tank for days. This year, I did things differently. I let my husband take over jobs that I probably wouldn't have before. I, even sent him on runs to the store. I let him pick up things that maybe weren't exactly what I would have picked out. I cleaned the house, but it wasn't perfect. I just got it as clean as I could. And, it was fine. At the end of the day, nobody walked in my house and asked me why my coffee table was a little bit dusty. They walked in and they laughed and they ate and they had a great time. And I felt so much more relaxed because I wasn't stressing about doing every single little thing. And it felt so much better. So I did less and it felt great. Just wanted to share that little nugget with you all. Try it. Do less this time. All right. Number 7. Another big one here. I know I've got a few here that are, going to kind of blow your mind. I know they've been very life-changing for me to really implement this stuff. Number 7, time for everybody else. You're going to swap that for taking time for yourself. This goes back to that same idea of doing all the things. Because let's be real. Besides just needing to get things done in general, everyone around you needs something. Your family, your friends, your kids, your pets, whoever you have around you, everybody seems to need something, right? And so many of us, again, I think this is a trait that just comes especially with women, that we tend to be nurturers. We want to give to those around us, and that's amazing. Keep doing that. But what if you take a step back and truly put your own needs first? What if you tried that? What if you did take a step back and put your own needs first? I'm not saying just forget about everybody else, right? There are things that other people do need from us and we want to give, and that's wonderful. But what if you take some time to fill up your own cup first? Because how well can you really pour from an empty cup? We've all felt it. You're completely run down. You've got nothing left. You're exhausted, especially when you're struggling with a chronic condition like endometriosis. You don't have anything left to give. Give something to yourself. Take time to do something just because you want to, just because you love it, and just enjoy that. Take some time. Okay. Number 8, swap doom scrolling for unplugging. I always laugh at that phrase, doom scrolling. I think this is the first time I've ever actually used that phrase, but I've heard it before and I thought I would just throw it in there, make myself sound kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Did I sound cool? I don't feel like I've ever sounded cool in my life. So if not, I feel okay about that. But reality check here. We all do it. We all probably spend a little too much time, maybe a lot sometimes, scrolling through social media. And as you're doing that, what happens is that you see your family, your friends, some rando you knew from high school or something. You see other people's quote unquote perfect worlds. You can't see me, but my fingers are doing little quotations around perfect, because we all know what people show us on social media is probably not everything that's going on in their lives. You see people having fun, feeling good, spending time with their kids when you have not been so blessed yet. You see all these things, maybe these beautiful, perfect looking Christmas photos that people have taken with their families. And it can be so easy when you see all this stuff, all these, perfectly portrayed visuals that people give you, and go down that why me and that comparison rabbit hole. And oh my goodness, that can be so hard on the mind, so dangerous for the mind. Instead, why not take some time to just unplug completely? I'm talking a phone-free, maybe even a technology-free day. When was the last time you really did that? I'll be honest and say it's not something I do often. I'm human, just like the rest of you, and also feel like I have 14,000 different things to do on the phone. But I have to say, the days that I do that, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to put the phone down in the other room. I'm going to tuck it away. I'm not going to look at it till tomorrow. It's so freeing. Bonus points if you just drive yourself somewhere off grid where you actually just have no service. Those honestly have been some of my favorite times in my life. My husband and I actually really love to go camping. We love being outdoors and being in nature. We love to go camping. And the times when we are camping and we're just completely off grid, we don't get any cell service, are the best. It's so freeing. It's so refreshing when I just get to actually be in the moment and just enjoy time with loved ones, time in nature, and just unplug from all of it and just be with yourself, be in your own body. It's amazing. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. Give it a whirl. Okay. Swap number 9, swapping perfume for essential oils. This goes back to the synthetic fragrance thing we talked about earlier when we were talking about the candles. Perfumes, really pretty much all perfumes, I hate to tell you, contain a whole lot of those phthalates we talked about, those major hormone disruptors. Because again, those phthalates are the chemical that makes the fragrance really stick. So if you spray that perfume on in the morning and you can still smell it in the afternoon, in the evening, it's got phthalates in it. Hate to break it to you. I know here I am, the bearer of bad news again. I used to be, I guess I was never a huge perfume girl, but I definitely was into perfume for a while, like in my late teens, early 20s. Always thought it was fun. I was in the stores, in the department stores, smelling all the perfumes and testing all the samples. It's just what you do at that age, I guess. And I get it. You want to smell good. You're going out on a hot date or something, or I don't know, just going to a family get together and you want to smell yummy and delicious. I get it. So here's what I recommend as a swap for that is just chuck out those yucky chemicals that you have. Just toss it in the trash. Worth it, I promise. And swap that out for some essential oils instead. Now, there are companies like Young Living and doTERRA that have great products. Some of them even have some great, roll-on blends. I think I've got a couple in my medicine cabinet that I use once in a while. But honestly, you also can just go to your local health food store. Because I'm not a big, huge essential oil person, mind you. I know some people are like super, super into that. I like essential oils. I don't know a ton about them. I'm not like your go-to gal when it comes to essential oils. I don't sell any of the essential oils. I'm just telling you some of the companies that I've tried. But here's what I've learned. If you're just looking for yummy scents, you don't have to spend a fortune, right? If you're looking for more of the therapeutic benefits of essential oils, because there are a lot of things that essential oils can really be beneficial for in many different ways. But if you're truly just looking for yummy scents to put on your body, or maybe use like an essential oil diffuser in your home, you really don't have to spend a fortune. Honestly, what I do sometimes is just go to the grocery store or like a local health food store. They don't have this at Albertsons or something, but a local health food store. And most of the time they'll have a little essential oil aisle or section. Just find something that smells good to you and go with that. I know my local health food store has some blends, essential oil blends, as well as just individual scents. You can just find something that calls to you that you love and just, Now remember, when you're using pure essential oils, like, use sparingly. You don't want to dump it on yourself, like a couple little drops around. Isn't it? I'm so not a pro at this, but isn't it like around your jawline, like where that big artery is or something, and then on your wrists? Isn't that the places you're supposed to put it? I don't know. I'm not a pro at this. I might be completely wrong. Please let me know if I am. But a few drops here and there, that's all you really need. Good to go. Okay, and last but not least, we have swap number 10, sugary snacks for high protein snacks. I actually, as I'm recording this, had just gotten back from the grocery store, and these shelves are full of all the sugary goodness. And, there are all these beautiful, brightly colored packages. Everything looks super tempting. And I can't tell you how many things I picked up. It was like, ooh, this looks like fun. And then would flip it over and look at the ingredients and see all the sugar and, oils and all the junk that they add to it, and just throw it right back down on the shelf. That's probably why it takes so long at the grocery store, because I flip over all the packages and read the ingredients first, which I highly recommend. And I ended up buying none of them because honestly, it was all just junk that I don't really want to put in my body at this point in time. So, and this circles back again to the whole blood sugar conversation that I mentioned earlier, so I won't go over all that again, but really just want to remind you that when you're just having a little snack, right? Because, I mentioned earlier that the sweet treats, that for me, that's something that I would typically do shortly after a meal, because if you're eating like a protein-rich meal and then you have a little something sweet right afterwards, it's going to have much less impact on your blood sugar. If you're having just, a cookie by itself in the middle of the day, it's going to have a lot more impact on your blood sugar. So the general rule that I'm going to recommend here, or just always, is no naked carbs. Now, carbs does kind of encompass all of the carbs. So that even includes like fruits and veggies. Those are carbs also. Great. But if you're going to have that as a snack, you don't want to have it by itself. Banana. Great snack, don't eat it by itself. Have it paired along with some kind of protein-rich snack, like a boiled egg is a good option, some kind of jerky. I really like the Epic brand bars. They have some good stuff. Handful of nuts or some nut butter, something that will provide some nutrients, give you some nourishment, help to keep your blood sugar stable. And that can be really helpful as you go through this holiday season. So if you're going to have some little sweet treats for yourself, preferably some of the healthier ones like we talked about earlier, at least have those, shortly after a meal and not just by itself, when it's going to have a bigger impact on your blood sugar, which is going to contribute more to inflammation and weaken that immune system and all the things. So just keep that in mind. No naked carbs. Remember that rule. All right, my friend, that's all I got for you today. There's those 10 healthier holiday swaps. Now, if there's anything specific in this episode that you're looking for, you need help finding options for these swaps, companies to look for, recipes, links, anything at all that you need, because I just don't have room in the show notes to link absolutely everything that I would ever recommend, just hit me up on Instagram. Find me on Instagram at Endo Belly Girl. Shoot me a DM. I'm honestly happy to just have a conversation with you. Don't be shy. Please feel free to reach out. Honestly, a podcast, it's a one-way street over here. I talk to you. I get to hang out in your ears. That sounds really weird. But, it's nice to kind of actually have a two-way conversation with people. So if you're enjoying the podcast, I would love to hear. Yeah. And if you're really loving the podcast, I would really, really love it. It would be like the best Christmas present ever if you would even leave a rating, a review. I said that really weird. A rating or a review or all of the above on your favorite podcasting platform. That would be like the best Christmas present ever, because then I get to hear from you, and it also helps me to reach more endo warriors like you who can use support on their journeys. So it's like a win-win-win. I feel good. I get that little dopamine hit because I got a new review on the podcast. You get a little dopamine hit because you did something nice for somebody during the holiday season. And another endo warrior gets to find this podcast because you left that review. Win-win-win. Okay, my friend, that's all I got for you today. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Much love. Thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. If you loved what you heard, be sure to share with a friend and subscribe so that you can keep coming back for more. If you are ready to take the next step towards getting to the root cause of your endo symptoms like endo belly, pain, fatigue, and so much more, you need to download my free ultimate guide to building your own endometriosis diet. You can find the link in the show notes or at www.endobellygirl.com. Until next time, my friend.